say something that, give me some constructive criticism. Sorry, I don't know why I fucking blanked on the word constructive. Um, anyways, I have no idea what this topic's about. Well, I mean, I know it's apparently about a man named, Zhang Zongchang, but other than that, let's, get into it.
Hey kids, today I've got another character study for you all, a man known as Zhang Zongchang. In 1881, he was born into poverty in the Shandong region of China. His father was a head shaver, not a barber mind you. If a head shaver's a barber, then a ditch digger's an architect. He also moonlit as an alcoholic. His mom, meanwhile, was a literal practicing witch and exorcist, already a recipe for success.
Man's got the fucking Doctor Doom backstory. Right? Doctor Doom from fucking Marvel. His mom was like a witch in Latvia who was burned at the stake. So, what the fuck does a head shaver do? He said it's not a barber. What do they actually do? It's my major question.
Zhang joined a group of roving bandits at age 20, as one does, right around the Xinhai Revolution, where the Qing dynasty was overthrown and the Republic of China was established. But in 1916, the kidneys of the nation's widely disliked monarchist leader done shat the bed, causing a power vacuum that ultimately led to what is known as the warlord era of the Republic. During this time, different regions of China were constantly shifting hands between a collection of separate military groups, all of whom were ruthless both to
Alright, so this type of era, a warlord era, happens relatively frequently in Chinese history. A ruling clan will come to power, they'll rule for a while. They tend to become either corrupt, self-serving, or just unlucky enough to, have bad either economic or natural disasters happen, then they fall apart. Now that's interesting, but what I think is more important is the Among Us man right here. I doubt that is what actually happened, unless like a time travel went back in time and just had a great sense of humor. But yeah, I mean, these warlord eras would typically result in massive body counts. And when reunified, usually China would not reunify completely. There'd be some outliers for a while until they get reconquered. But yeah, I guess back in the video.
each other and to the people they ruled over. And through charisma, favors to the right people, and a keen sense of military pragmatism, our humble highwayman soon came to be one of these warlords.
Good for him.
Zhang was quite skilled as a leader of war. After the Russian Civil War, he recruited thousands of fleeing white Russians, not beverages, but Bolshevik butchers, which bolstered his battalions and brought big bonuses to his bloodshed. He also made efficient use of armored trains, which proved to be highly cost-effective at transporting large amounts of troops and supplies.
Sorry.
Use of armored
What the fuck is this? This is like some shit out of Choo Choo Charles. Choo Choo Charles meets Thomas the Tank Engine, I guess. Fuck that. I hate how he draws trains. There's another video of his I have watched about, I think it's Dead Body Hijinks, where a train shows up with a crazy fucking face.
Trains, which proved to be highly cost-effective at transporting large amounts of troops and supplies. But that's not what you people care about. You want some clownage. Well, rest assured, Zhang was quite the character. Now, we all know the age-old debate between positive and negative reinforcement. On the one hand, if you treat people well, you'll probably get the same treatment back later down the line. But on the other hand, nobody's ever taught a tiger to jump through flaming hoops with just pets and temptations. And if you think that's messed up, that's because, well, yeah, it is. Circuses are fucking evil. But like all great leaders, Zhang knew how to appropriately apply both the carrot and the stick. As an example of the former, he defeated the forces of enemy General Wu Peifu largely by convincing members of his army to defect, with the promise that they could keep their original rank after switching sides, which he fulfilled. But then he was like, yeah, I don't know if my loyal men would be too happy about being outranked by strangers. Well, only one solution here. All my guys are ranking up. Problem was, so many officers were promoted that Zhang literally ran out of gold and silver to make new insignias. He was like, I gotta think about this. Went out for a smoke, looked down, hey, wait a minute, and had the rest of the emblems made out of the colorful foil found in cigarette packages. It said that during during the promotion ceremony, people would look down and notice their little star already had a rip in it before the event was even over. But hey, there's still a colonel or poobah or whatever now, they can't complain. On another occasion, he proudly announced that he would either win an upcoming battle or return home in his coffin. And though Zhang was many things, he was not a liar. So after he ended up retreating, his men paraded him through the streets in a casket while he waved and sheafed on a cigar.
Alright, this guy, he's a warlord, probably committed some, probably not the best guy, he started as a highwayman, became a warlord, probably doesn't have the best track record, but at least he has a decent sense of humor, I guess. I mean, that's pretty fucking hilarious.
So you're probably wondering why they called him the dog meat general. At this point, my head was swimming with lurid fantasies about him eating dog flesh, or wearing dog flesh, or eating dog flesh. Turns out, nah, he was just real into pai gow, of which the act of playing was colloquially referred to as eating dog meat. And also because he ate dogs.
I was about to say, when he said it was because he played pai gow, I felt a little cheated. But apparently, Sam just tried to slip that in there. What does that say?
Eating dog meat. And also
Zhang reportedly ate meat of black Chow Chow dogs every day, as it was popularly believed at the time that this meat would boost a man's virility. Weird. Why specifically the Chow Chow dogs? Like, not just dogs in general? Did it work?
Because he ate dogs. He was also sometimes jokingly referred to as the three don't knows, since he didn't know how much money he had, how many concubines he had, or how many men were in his army. Well, funny, there was some truth to the nickname, which did sometimes cause issues. Some were minor. For one, he had a lot of trouble remembering the names of the 30 to 50 women of all nationalities in his harem.
30 to 40? Jesus Christ, dude.
But he got around this by just assigning them numbers. Number 4 is real flexible, 27 makes a killer quiche, watch out for 14, she's a biter, and so forth. Other times, things got a little more dire. Later in his career, Zhang became the military governor of the province of Shandong, and while the warlord life suited him, domestic affairs were another story. Rampant human rights violations aside,
Yep, figured this was coming. Having a reputation as one of the most brutal and ruthless warlords, Zhang was notorious for his hobby of splitting the skulls of prisoners with his sword, and for hanging dissidents from telephone poles. Several of his concubines had been forcibly seized from rich families in Shandong. Zhang became closely connected to Shanghai's criminal gangs and the drug trade. Yeah. Kind of figured that was gonna pop up eventually. There aren't a ton of warlords who are known as, like, benevolent saints, I guess. Fuck, man, I guess shit.
The whole thing was just way poorly managed. For example, while Zhang did collect taxes on everything from theater performances to tobacco examination licenses, relatively little of his extortions went towards his war efforts or anything practical, with most of it being funneled into vanity projects and his own personal riches. So how did he fund his army? Well, for those playing at home, it's time to take a shot, because Zhang printed tens of millions of dollars worth of paper money in the form of military stamps with no reserve to back them up. Obviously, massive inflation ensued, but Zhang just said insisted the stamps had a one-to-one conversion with real money and continued paying his men at the same rate. Fortunately for them, the invisible hand of the market is no match for the very visible fist of the soldier, because they just kick old merchant ladies' asses till they accepted the currency at face value. But unfortunately, kicking old ladies' asses can't solve everything.
Says you. I find otherwise. You just have to kick the right old woman's ass.
In the summer of 1927, Shandong was hit with a famine caused primarily by drought. At the time, many people prayed to Zhang Xian, a folk deity, in an attempt to bring rain to these crusty lands. But Zhang Zongchang, he don't get on his knees for nobody. He walked right up to the statue in Xian's temple, starts bitch slapping it, tells it to go fornicate with its sister, and then has his artillery crew fire shells straight into the sky for hours on end to show that god who he's dealing with.
So, there's a basic, rule of gun safety, basic rule of just physics, what goes up must come down. If they were firing actual shells, well, they're gonna stop at a point and fall down. Do you think anybody was unfortunate enough to be in, the area where that fell? 'Cause this shows him shooting them off in the middle of a village. I kinda doubt that, just not the best idea to launch heavy ordnance from your own village you're currently ruling over. But even still, if it is near a village, some poor farmer, like just out tending his field, um, trying to make an honest living in the warlord era of China, already things are rough, and then he just gets demolished by an incoming mortar shell that was intended to attack a god. Like, yeah, that'd probably piss you off.
Sources differ on when the next rain was, but it did eventually rain, so in the end, Zongchang got the last laugh. Speaking of which, our boy was also a renowned poet. Here's a piece he wrote about that very event. The sky god is also named Zhang. Why does he make life hard for me? If it doesn't rain in 3 days, I'll demolish your temple. Then I'll have cannons bombard your mom. Truly prophetic. He's got a few other good ones too. Let me just dim the lights real quick. Yeah. This one's called Visiting Mount Tai. From afar, Mount Tai looks blackish. Narrow on top and wide at the bottom. If you flipped it upside down, it would be narrow at the bottom and wide on top. I like that one a lot because it's like he heard about metaphors without realizing they're supposed to have a second meaning.
Yeah, that's one thing I hate about poetry is, usually it has to rhyme, and usually there's supposed to be like a deeper meaning or something. Sometimes they're straightforward, but usually it's like you're supposed to glean a message from it or interpret what the author meant. I mean, Zhang just gets right to the point, I guess. Which honestly, I prefer. I don't like all the interpretation poetry. That was why I always hated doing it in school. Because they made us like write poems. We had to do like a draft and then do an actual poem. And we were supposed to present it. We never did, thankfully, because it was awful, and also because no kids in my class did it, which is probably why we didn't present it. Yeah, I don't know why they made us do it. It was like 3 days they made us do it, and then never again.
This one's titled Poem About Bastards. You tell me to do this, he tells me to do that. You are all bastards. Go fuck your mother. Poignant. But
he really loves the like, not your mom jokes, but insulting people's moms. Like, when it wasn't raining, he told the sky god, if it does not rain in 3 days, I'll bombard your mom. And in his poem about bastards, you're all bastards, go fuck your mother. Like, he sort of goes with that theme in a lot of his poems, I gather. I don't know how many he did, but, at least recurred in 2, probably others.
But unlike most poets besides E. E. Cummings and Emily Dickinson, Zhang was quite well endowed. He was often referred to as General 86, as when Zhang Jr. stood up straight, he could reportedly reach the length of 86 Mexican silver dollars stacked atop one another.
Why
Given
Mexican
a thickness
dollars?
of 2.4 millimeters, this would put him at around 20.6 centimeters or 8.1 inches. That's especially impressive given that he was likely malnourished during puberty due to both poverty and the 1896 famine. You racists.
I mean, I made fun of him for the Chow Chow thing, but I mean, apparently it worked, I guess. I mean, I don't know why if he already had a dick like that, he would need to try to increase his size and virility, I guess. I know they're different, but, Also, why 86 Mexican silver dollars? Were those big in China at the time? Because I've never heard of that. Whatever, I guess it's a unit of measurement, although
I thought of a few other jokes
seems
about
like
this,
there'd
but
be
I couldn't
better
fit them in
ones.
the narrative, so I'll just rattle them off. Should have been called the Horse Meat General. When he got out of the pool, he was General 12. This one just says Dong Hung Dong. You get the point. But all great things must eventually come to an end. After suffering a series of defeats at the hands of his enemies and a subsequent failed rebellion against a quickly reunifying China, Zhang was forced to run away in 1928, bringing his mom with him to Beppu, Japan. His time here was relatively uneventful, except for when he shot a former prince in the back for trying it on with one of his concubines.
Wait, first of all, he shot a prince in the back. Already crazy enough. I don't know how often you run into just princes on the street of Japan, Beppu, Japan. Secondly, he kept the concubines? How did he flee the country after multiple military defeats? And he was like, oh shoot, gotta bring my concubines with me. I mean, I imagine not all 40 to 50, but how many did he bring? What? How?
In court, he said the gun just happened to go off while he was pointing it at the center of the guy's mask. For some
I
reason,
believe
they're
it.
like, nothing suspicious here. Gave him the choice between 15 days in prison or a $150 fine. He chose the latter.
For murdering a prince? Like, it's fucking royalty. He shot royalty and it's just like 15 days in jail or $150? First of all, I feel like 15 days in jail is a lot worse than $150.
Zhang's story finally came
Of course he chose the latter. It was a much better deal.
to an end in 1932 when he went back to Shandong not as a conqueror but as a visitor. Unfortunately, it seems it takes people more than 4 years to get over murder because he was unceremoniously assassinated by the nephew of an officer that he had executed.
Well,
All in all,
yeah,
Zhang
I
left
guess.
behind quite a strange legacy. Given the litany of horrible crimes that I've seemed to kind of gloss over, he's generally regarded as the stinkiest stain of an already messy portion of the tapestry that is Chinese history. The only remaining question is if one can truly separate the art from the artist. During his rule, Time magazine described him as China's basest warlord. I'll let you decide whether or not they forgot the DE. That's all for today. Till next time, I'm Sam O Nella, and I'm hiding in your fridge.
Oh shit. You know, I didn't want to say anything. I did hear some noises upstairs a little bit ago. I thought it was my dog, but maybe it was Sam O Nella climbing into my fridge to drink my A1 sauce or something. I don't know. And now we have an ad for One Piece Bounty Rush. Oh, fucking awesome. Fuck. Alright, anyways, thanks for watching. This was a good video. Sorry if my reactions aren't great. I'm trying to get better at it. I got no idea what the fuck I'm doing. If you stuck around this long, thank you. You know, please like, comment, and subscribe, like I said in the beginning. Tell me what you think I could do better. I really could use some help. I keep gesturing off camera as if you guys can see this. Anyways, thanks. Have a great day.